In 2022, younger me decided to create a set of OCs, my very own idol group. I was super into D4DJ and all of its groups, and I recently discovered an Instagram account called Shangri-La. Being at home a lot and very inspired, I really wanted to try my hand at an idol group of my own, but 13-year-old me was not prepared to make a bunch of different groups like D4DJ or have 9 whole characters like Shangri-La, so in the end, I ended up with 5 girls that belonged to my very own band, Tenchi Sky. I gave them birthdays and roles and their very own Instagram account that got over 50 followers not long after I started it. Then I completely abandoned it. So here I am, 3 years later, here to give my abandoned children some more love. I've been seeing many of these videos of artists redesigning old OCs, and that pushed me to start a channel of my own and try my hand at it. My idol group, Tenchi Sky, consisted of 5 girls: Maino Hoshisaku, Hachi Tsubasa, Amai Hanami, Seizaki Umikayo, and Kana Miyanate. Today, I'll be redesigning Maino because she's the leader of the group and the first OC I made for this concept. It's funny that Maino is the first one I chose to redesign because her design is actually the one I'm most comfortable with out of all of them. She's definitely one of my comfort OCs, and you can probably tell because of her hair. It's purple. I love her purple hair so much. Another one of the things I did a lot and still do is I fall into a comfort zone where I design characters with those side swooping bangs. It's something I do a lot and should probably fall away from, but for the sake of my love for Maino, I wasn't really going to change her hair at all. Right now, I was just taking a reference of my art from 2022 and making a little sketch of her in my current style. Nothing super fancy. To introduce you to Maino, she is a first-year student at a made-up school whose name I don't remember. She transferred over and is a new student. There she meets Hachi Tsubasa, another girl in her year who's tasked to help show her around. These two eventually become best friends and meet the other girls. Eventually, they form a band. Each girl has their own role, and Maino is the leader, guitarist, and she writes the melodies for Tenchi Sky's songs. Back in 2022, I gave each girl a brief description, so here's Maino's. Maino Hoshisaku is Tenchi Sky's leader. She's the group's melodist and plays a customized electric guitar during live shows. Fans love her for her spunky, cheerful demeanor on stage. She shows plenty of those attributes out of performance to her bandmates, but with the additives of an extreme loyalty and dedication to Tenchi Sky. So, Maino's character traits were kind of that of any copy-paste determined protagonist. She was a klutz, airhead, but very determined and stubborn at the same time. I wanted her to kind of be the passionate heart of the group, despite the fact she's the only one who's never been to the academy before. None of them really have distinct backstories, as 13-year-old me didn't exactly remember that backstories matter in character design, so I'm hoping that as I continue these redesigns, I'll be able to piece together an actual story for these girls. Now, I didn't have any problems with her hair or face, but I did in fact have a problem with her costume. Oh, and by the way, ignore her guitar. We are not redesigning her guitar. I'm not gonna read it out of the story, it's freaking cool, but just pretend it doesn't exist for now. Anyway, to actually understand what to redesign, I decided to just redraw her base dress. When I was originally designing these characters, I tried to give them each the same dress with slightly different features. I would change up the sleeves or the amount of bows, and each girl kind of had her own space motif. Maino's being a crescent moon. That's actually one of the main things I dislike about their costumes. Each girl's motif was this weird, dangling pendant thing attached to their collar. It didn't really make any sense at all, but I didn't want to completely get rid of it either. Another problem I had was the sleeves. Oh my gosh, I absolutely hate the weird, sheer, puffy sleeves I gave pretty much everyone. In retrospect, I find them really unpleasant to look at. I think they actually do give a pretty spacey vibe, and I don't necessarily think they were a bad choice for these little space angels, but I feel like I executed them poorly and now they just bother me. I actually really enjoyed the little bow stacks on the side of the dress, but I also kind of thought that it didn't really have structure or make sense, and I just put it there to have something going on. I also did like the fact that there was a little stack skirt action going on with the lace trim on the first layer and the gold trim on the second. One of my least favorite parts of the dress, however, was the big bow on the back. Well, not exactly the big bow, but more so the weird ribbons that were thinner and coming down really far below the dress. I don't know, they just bothered me. Now it's time to redesign the dress. I started out by listing the things I liked about the dress, which were the stacking bows, the layered skirts, the gloves and socks from the original reference, the big bow, and of course, the angel wings, even though I didn't attach them to either dress designs. I then went on to list the things I wanted to change or get rid of, which were the sleeves, some of the colors, the hanging motifs, and the lack of anything in the front of the dress. Some of the first changes I made were just making the dress sleeveless and changing the main skirt into a pleated one, because I thought the original one was just really bland and ambiguous. I also decided to swap the layers for the skirts, so the gold trim was now on the top layer and the lace is now on the underlayer. I made the waistband smaller and less confusing to look at and debated adding buttons to the front, but I figured that would make this already kiddish dress look even more like something I'd buy for my sister at TJ Maxx. I was really debating on where to put the crescent moon. I tried to just put it on the waistband, but it ended up looking like a princess costume, so eventually I decided to have the moon be a patch on one of the pleats, and I'm happy with that. I wanted to keep the big bow in the bow stack, but I had an idea to make the silhouette of the bow stack, but just make it one big layered bow that peeks out from the back. And I also decided to draw the back of the dress too. For the colors, I wanted to keep pretty much everything the same except for the bows because they are the exact same color as Mino's hair, and everything is so monochromatic that I just needed to change it. I tried a light yellow in a moon way, but it just kind of looked not very good. I tried looking up some spacey color palettes and I saw pink as a recurring color, so I tried that and it just didn't fit. So I ended up going with the same gold as the trim and the motifs. I kept the little stars on the fabric, but I decided to put them on the upper part of the dress too and not just on the bottom. Now it's finally time to draw her in her new and improved outfit. I wanted a pose that was simple but also showed off her cheerful personality. I also wanted to make sure you could see her outfit clearly. I really wanted to draw her garter, but I didn't realize that my original drawing of her was so disproportionate and the garter actually made no sense. In future drawings, I want to reposition it, but for today I just decided to draw her with white stockings. I think this drawing is cute, and I like her new outfit, but I found myself getting a little nostalgic for the old one. Sure, there were a few confusing elements that I wanted to change, but it was also really unique. I think I had an interesting vision back then, and I want to know what you guys think. Do you like my redesign, or do you prefer her original dress? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.